I never know how to start these things. Hello, my name is Madison, and welcome back to the Fleur Sock podcast. Welcome to finally another podcast episode. I feel like I've been meaning to film this for like a month and I just have not had the time. But here we are. Also, I apologize. You are getting fresh-faced out of the shower, Madison, because first of all, my son just went down for a nap. So if you can hear him banging a little bit, he's just discovered that he can make loud noises with his feet against the bars of the crib. But anyway, so I took the opportunity to shower, and welcome to winter in Canada, where I live. It is so dry. I've got like eczema spots, like dry skin spots coming up. I cannot stand to have makeup on my face. So hopefully the camera is far enough away that you can't see it, and hopefully you focus more on the things that I'm going to show you, because that's the interesting part. Anyway, so it has been a while, which means I have a lot of things to show you. I feel like I watch a lot of knitting podcasts, and then I feel really bad that I like don't have a lot to show, and then I don't film for a while because I'm like, I don't have anything to show. Why would I film? And then by the time I get around to filming, I have so much to show that this might be a long episode. We have spinning, we have knitting, we have sewing, and we have yarn dyeing, because of course, once you get into these crafts, if you're anything like me, they just keep coming. They just keep coming. But I'm having so much fun trying different things, and yeah, I just wanted to update you on all of this stuff. It is like noon, but I've only managed to have one cup of coffee. So, sorry about that. I'm gonna be sipping. What should we start with? Let's start with my spinning, because I have one finished skein that I am so very pleased with. Like, it turned out actually so even. I love how the colors are playing together. I cannot wait. I think I'm going to maybe make myself a pair of mittens. So this is 100% wool that I hand dyed, and then I spun, and then I plied. So it is 50 grams. Oh, and if you're a postpartum mama, you understand I have a lot of hair spun into it because I am still, like, over a year later, losing it by the handful. Anyway, probably TMI. So there's definitely still like some thick and thin spots, but I got like an official Nitty Knotty that has like a 2-yard circumference or whatever when you wrap it around, and I managed to hit exactly 463 yards or 400 meters, which is exactly a fingering weight, which I cannot believe I hit that number exactly. This is 50 grams, so it's half of that, 218. Yeah, 218. So I think it'll be enough for me to knit myself a pair of mittens, and it makes me very happy. It turned out to be like Hobbit, which is, I love Lord of the Rings. It's great. It's not what I expected. I think that's like such the fun thing about hand spinning, hand dyed roving, is like you don't really know how the colors are going to mix together, and then again when you apply it back on itself, it's just magical. I love it so much. So much fun. So that is the one spinning project that I have completed. I also made my son a pair of mittens. Look how cute they are. So I used the Tincan.knits World's Simplest Mitten pattern for this. I made again, I got my own hair stuck in it. It's fine. I think I made the toddler size, but I didn't do the ribbing quite as long because I had some, I call them micro skeins. I had some micro skeins from Knit Picks, which are the 10-gram minis, because for some reason Knit Picks doesn't do 20-gram minis, which is weird because like almost every other place does 20 grams and they do 10. Anyway, whatever. So I was playing around with the acid dyes and hand dyeing yarn and stuff, and I had a bunch of these micro minis. So I decided to do a little striped number, which I'll put a picture up on the screen, but I put these on him the other day just to make sure they fit. He was going out the door. He was gonna hang out with his grandparents for a little bit. And his coat is like this exact green color. And then he was wearing blue jeans and it just matched so perfectly. He looked so flipping cute. And he actually didn't hate having them on. Like, he didn't wear them for very long because like he wasn't going outside. He was just going into a car and then going inside. So he didn't need to wear them. So I was just trying them on, but they look so cute. And if you know anything about children, there's no way if we do go for a walk that these are going to stay on his hands. So I pulled out my handy dandy Cordsmith the other day and I turned another one of the micro skeins into an I-cord, which, man, this thing is so handy. This would have taken me like 2 hours to hand knit. This took me maybe 10 minutes. And so I still need to attach them, obviously, but then once you attach them, you can put it through the coat and they can just dangle. So if he takes them off his hands, they don't fall on the ground. They just go to the end of the cord. So that's awesome. I am very, very happy about that. And it's so cute. And I mean, it doesn't really match, but it was just another micro skein and it's green and it's bright. So if they're laying around somewhere, I'll be able to find them. So I'm very happy about that. Also, I gotta say, like, I was just like testing the colors. So I was like, they're basically solid tonal colors. They turned out so good. I've been wanting to dye yarn for a very long time. I first started with like, I bought like a 30 pack of food coloring from Amazon and I started with that, which was super fun and is color fast, but like not something I would ever sell, of course, but it was just fun. So it was fun to try out. And also with food coloring, you can use like your normal kitchen stuff, but with acid dyes, it has to be separate. So now that I have acid dyes, I like have a container of all of the stuff that I've commandeered from my kitchen that is not going to be used for cooking anymore. So I do have to be a lot more careful now that I have acid dyes, but yeah, so much fun playing around with that. So that is finished object number 2. Number 3, 4, and 5. Well, you've seen this sock before because I've talked about it. I have a pattern in testing right now for the Crown of Daisies color pack. And I finished 2 other socks with it. So I don't know if you can see, but these ones turned out super duper cozy. So this is the Patton's Croix sock yarn, and it is thick. Thick. It's definitely more of a sport weight. So the inside turned out, well, like when you do color work, it's double thick, right? Because you're carrying the non-working yarn to the inside. But look at those floats. Like, they look so good. And it's like so thick. It's gonna be so warm. Like, these would be great like boot sock, I think. Of course I only knit one because I just need to take pictures. I will knit a second one eventually, probably. And then I did another one just to show a different layout of the colorwork charts. And I reversed the colors from my first sample onto my second sample. And I still have like almost 50 grams of each ball left. So like I would be able to make 2 more socks, which is crazy to me. I like these because they're like kind of mismatched, but they are matching. So those turned out really great. The pattern is being released on February 16th. Keep an eye out for that if you enjoy colorwork socks. So the main pattern is called the Fleur Sock, which is just like you could use it as a vanilla pattern. And then the Crown of Daisies is a colorwork expansion, and I'm planning on doing more expansions just because it's kind of like fun to level up your sock knitting a little bit. I love doing vanilla socks, but also just doing some color work here and there is really fun. And I'm gonna release the color work charts as like a separate download on my Etsy. I don't think you can do it on Ravelry because they want it to be like a full pattern on Ravelry. But like these charts would work for any of your standard 64 stitch socks. So if you already have a favorite pattern, you can purchase the colorwork charts separately and just add them in to whatever sock pattern you already like. So it's kind of a little bit more of an affordable way of doing that part. And then the vanilla sock, it also has instructions on 2 different ways of customizing the leg versus foot width, because if you're anything like me, your foot circumference and your calf circumference are not the same. So it doesn't really make sense to knit a sock the same, especially, anyway, doesn't matter. I wanted to give people options because I need options. There's 2 different ways of switching up the stitch counts so that you can have a wider calf and a thinner foot, because I feel like a lot of us thick-legged people need a little bit more options than just 1 stitch count all the way through. Okay, I think that is all my finished projects. Oh, actually, I have some more finished projects. I made a couple pockets. So, if you don't know, I have an Etsy shop where I sell project bags. And I have been making some pockets to go with them. So the nice thing here, I have a project bag right here. One of the nice things about these project bags is the pocket comes off and you can interchange it, or you can put a different one with it. You can buy different patterns and stuff like that. So I released a couple different patterns, but I didn't have any pockets like to sell separately. So the sweater bag comes with a pocket, and then the shawl bag has the snaps, but it doesn't come with a pocket. I was gonna sell them separately. Like, you can buy as many as you want and do whatever you want. So I started making a couple pockets. So it's basically like a notions pocket that you put at the front, that for different projects, it's like you need a pair of scissors and you need a pen and you need the darning needles and you need a ruler and stuff like that. So it's like that kind of stuff that you need for lots of different projects, but you don't want to have multiple of them. You can keep it all in one pocket, and then the pocket can go between all of your project bags. And if you don't have one of my project bags, that is the snaps, it does have like a little keychain hook, and it's pretty small, so like it could pop into whatever project bag you already have if you like the pattern. But one of the features is all of the pockets have these snaps on the back, and all of the pockets are interchangeable with all of the bags that have that feature. So the ones like in the clearance seconds, those are some of my older prototype bags, so they don't have like the snaps and stuff. But any of my newer ones that are like in the project bag section of my Etsy shop, I'll link it below. So I'm making a few of these. I just love the bugs. I think they're so cute. I kind of want to keep this one. But that's the problem I have. I love all of my fabric so much that I want to keep everything that I make. But anyway, oh, and then I have this very fun bright one as well. So I've been working on that, and of course I managed to put the keychain on the opposite side, but I don't think it matters that much. So that's just a fun little project I've been working on. Okay, now that's all my finished projects, I think. I feel like I haven't finished a lot of projects, but then I realized when I was laying everything out, it's because I have so many works in progress. So let's talk about my works in progress. First, I guess I will talk about my spinning. So this is my next spinning project, which I'm at the end of a braid here. So these are the braids. So this is hand dyed. This is like one of the first ones that I hand dyed with food coloring. So it turns my fingers a little bit pink because I was really worried about felting and I didn't rinse it very well. So I am definitely, the green and yellow one I also dyed with food coloring, and that one didn't bleed at all, but I know that blue and red are two colors that tend to bleed and do not, they're a little harder to absorb by the fiber, which I think it did a really good job. Like, look how bright these are. But I do have a feeling that it's going to bleed when I wash it, but that's okay because it's just for my own fun anyway. So if the first one, if the first fiber was Hobbit, this is like Manic Pixie Dream, Unicorn Fever Dream. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it is so bright. It's got like peacock blue and magenta, and but man, I just love the way that they're blending together. I am really looking forward to applying this together and seeing what the finished product looks like, because even though in the braid it looks super blue and red, like magenta pink, I guess, but I'm getting a lot of purple, which I absolutely love. Purple and green are my favorite colors, which I've had to be careful because that is very, it can read Hulk if you do green and purple. So like I had some like half sweater quantities that I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with them, and I tried putting them together, and the green and the purple, it's a little too Hulk for me, but I like them separately. So you'll see I have a lot of purple and I got a lot of green going on. But anyway, so that is the spinning project. Now I only have one spindle, so I can only work on one project at a time. I don't know if there's any spinners out there, like how many spindles is a normal amount to have, because I feel like I want to buy more, but also I have so many knitting projects, and I feel like I have this many knitting projects because I have so many knitting needles, and I feel like maybe having only one spindle is keeping me from having a million spinning projects at the same time. So maybe it's a good thing that I only have one spindle. We'll have to see. This project I have shown you before. This is my Tolsta Tee fingering weight using, oh shoot, I can't remember the yarn and my phone is recording. I mean, everything is linked below. This is where I was, if you can see the little marker. I just got some new stitch markers from Creation Miss Couture, and I have to put one on here because that's just like a boring little light bulb marker. I need to get my fancy ones. I did one of her, well, I think I did 2 scoops of her like surprise stitch markers. So it's like she just like has a tub of them and you can purchase a scoop or 2. So I did that, which was very fun. And now I got a bunch of stitch markers. Anyway, this is the Tolsta Tee fingering weight edition. I'm doing it in Broken Rib. It's Fallen Leaves is the colorway. I'll have the more information linked below. However, just yesterday I had to commandeer the needles to do the cuffs on a different project. So the needles are not in it, but they've only been gone for like a day, and I'll put them back in. I haven't made a huge amount of headway on this because this is my Star Trek knitting. So in the evening before we go to bed, oftentimes my husband and I will watch an episode of Star Trek. So we're going through DS9 right now. I think we're at like season 5. Whatever this season is that Worf has been there for a while now. So like we're getting into the good stuff now. So this just sits on my bedside table and I knit on it. This is like the first full fingering weight garment that I'm making for myself, and it is gonna take me a while, I think, also because like I'm only knitting on it for like 45 minutes here and there, but I'm also doing it at broken rib. So it's like you knit one row, but then you knit purl the next row. So it's also not as fast as plain stockinette, and it doesn't, there aren't like a huge amount of milestones. So I don't know, I probably have another 3 inches before I can split for sleeves. And now that I have shown it to you, I will move the stitch marker. I've done probably a good 4 or 5 inches since the last time I showed you, which was a while ago. But yeah, so that's, and man, I absolutely love this yarn. I'm not getting any color pooling. I'm not alternating skeins. I might alternate skeins once I get to the body and it's the same stitch count all the way through, but I haven't decided yet because I'm really liking the way that this is going. I just think it's so pretty. Yeah, I really, really like this yarn. And it just looks like a pile of fallen leaves, and I love that so much. So, so pretty. Just the other day, I started this project, which is the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. My son is almost grown out of the hat that he has right now, so I am making a toddler hat, which should hopefully fit him the rest of this winter and next winter. So I've done all of the increases, and now I just have to work straight for a while. So I wanted to start this so that I had like just some easy stockinette. Like, I know that I've said this before, I'm not a huge fan of plain stockinette, but at the same time, if I am like going somewhere that I want to bring my knitting and I don't want to be super focused on it, it is really nice to have a stockinette project. So this is going to be great for like hanging out with family and card knitting, and like you just don't have to think about it at all, which is quite nice. And I just I'm using Knitting for Olive, their merino and their mohair that I got when we went to Denmark. So I got enough yarn to make my son a hat and me and my husband both matching hats, and I decided to start with a toddler hat. This is like the first luxury mohair that I've ever felt, so it is super soft to me. Like, oh yeah, it feels very, very soft, but it definitely sheds, which I have heard the Knitting for Olive mohair sheds quite a bit when you're knitting with it and then when you block it for the first time. And I definitely find like I'm getting like tufts of the mohair. I think it's 70% mohair, 30% silk. So there's definitely like, it's definitely got a huge halo, but you can kind of see like you end up definitely losing some mohair, but that's okay because the finished fabric is super soft, and I keep like putting it against my forehead and it doesn't feel scratchy, because I feel like that's the only spot that you would really feel it, and it doesn't feel scratchy at all. It feels very, very soft. So hopefully my son will like it. So that's my next work in progress. The next two, oh, I realize I forgot to grab one, but it's just over here. Oh, yeah, there's my other one. So I have 3 test knits that I'm doing right now. Only one of them has a deadline for right now. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. One of them, yeah, only one of them has a deadline, which is this one. I am test knitting the Sims sweater is what I keep calling it. I forget the cottage living sweater for Victoria Marchant knits. And I am knitting it out of boucle. which I am, oh my goodness, it is so soft and cozy. It looks very short right now, but that is because it is 100% alpaca. Alpaca? Yeah, alpaca, which grows quite a bit. So I am going off of my blocked gauge swatch, which even my gauge swatch grew, which means the finished object is going to grow that much more because it has that much more weight to it. So they come in, I'm using the Bubbly Boo Clay by Knit Picks, just in their undyed. It took, do they come in 50-gram balls or 100-gram balls? I don't remember. I think they come in 50-gram balls. Anyways, doesn't matter. It used 2 for the back, and I'm on my 3rd one, and I'm picked up, and I did the shoulders, and now I am connected the front. So this one, you knit the back all the way down and you bind off, and then you pick up the shoulders, and then you knit the front all the way down, bind off, block it, and then you seam up the sides so that you can customize how big you want the armhole to be, which is really nice. So I need to just finish the front. And this is technically plain stockinette, but because it's knit flat, you do a knit row, purl row, which, I don't know, keeps it a little bit more interesting. You're at least switching up what you're doing every round. And then it's got a, what is it, a 4x2 ribbing, which I was not 100% sure how the ribbing was gonna come across in the boucle. Love it. Man, this sweater is like, it's gonna feel like a warm hug. And I'm so excited. There's the big feature on this is the embroidery at the front, which I'll post a picture of. I'm not 100% sure what colors I'm gonna use yet for the embroidery. I don't think I'm gonna do like the exact colors that she did. Might do purple. We'll see. You know me, purple and green. But yeah, very excited about that. And also this test is going so well. It's so well written. Like, I have not had a single question about it yet. And I believe that we have until June to complete it, which is really, really nice. Like, I feel like I have seen so many tests that are like 6 weeks for a sweater. And listen, like, I feel like I have a lot of opinions about this, especially as someone who is like at the tail end of doing her first test knit. Like, I don't have a lot of experience, but I just did a sock test knit for a colorwork sock. Only had to do 1 sock and it was 6 weeks. And like, I got a lot of feedback from the people who were doing the test that like really appreciated having that much time because it made them feel like they could actually do it. And then I see people asking for these volunteers to knit a sweater, a full sweater, in 6 weeks. Like, I would not feel comfortable asking people to do that because you're basically asking them to put everything else in their life on hold. You know, like, I like having multiple projects. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, but like, only being able to work on one project drives me absolutely insane. Like, I can't do it. I have to be able to like work on other things. And if I needed to finish the sweater in 6 weeks, like, I could probably do it, but I don't think I would enjoy it. And especially for the larger sizes, like, I think I'm doing like size 7 out of like 11 or something like that. So like, for even the largest sizes, like, that's a lot more knitting. It's like, okay, great, your extra smalls can do it. Fabulous. That is not the majority of people. Like, I think that there was there like a study? I'm in Canada, so it's probably a little bit different, but I think in the United States, like, the average size for a woman is like a size 12 or 14 now. So like, you need to take into consideration that people have different size bodies and they want to be able to see the project on their body type. So anyway, this is that was a tangent and a half, but anyway, this is the test knit that I'm doing for Victoria. and I am really enjoying it. And I don't feel pressure. I'm like, yeah, I'll be able to finish this. And I don't feel bad picking up a different project for an evening because I want to work on something different, because I know that I'll still have enough time to finish it. So my next test knit that doesn't really have a deadline because it's a test knit like after the fact. This sweater is released. This is the Freddie Pullover by em.knits, but it didn't get a full test on all of the sizes because, you know, some people dropped out and she didn't get all the information that she needed. So I just bound off one cuff this morning. Oh my goodness, I am so excited for this sweater. So it's a little bit cropped, but it's got this gorgeous cable detail, like a herringbone cable running down the front and the back, and then there's one on the sleeve, and I absolutely love it. I have one sleeve left to do, and then I'm all done. And I feel like this is going to be like my go-to, just like throw on comfy sweater. The original pattern has like a fold over collar, but I decided to do like a Henley collar. So I did the I just did like a 2x2 rib all the way around, and then I picked up it's like button band, but there's no buttons type thing. So I did give it like a little bit of a steam block to see how long I needed to make the sleeves, but it's obviously gonna need a full block because it's like all over rib. So it's gonna, like, this sleeve is gonna grow quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to that. I just think it's gonna be so great, so cozy. I'm knitting this out of Hobbii Highland wool and their Diablo mohair. So their Diablo mohair is like the budget, a little bit of mohair, mostly acrylic, maybe some nylon in there. And like, obviously compared to like touching the Diablo versus touching the Knitting for Olive, like, yeah, you can tell there's a big difference. But I still don't find it scratchy. I have tried it on like without anything underneath and it feels fine against my neck. I can feel it a little bit, but I don't find that I am super sensitive to like wool and stuff. So I think it should be fine. Worst case scenario, I put a t-shirt underneath it. Not a big deal. So that is my Freddie pullover. There's this. Oh, and then the other test knit that I'm doing is the one that I was talking about last time. I think I mentioned it last time. And this is the Honeybee Tee by Imogen something. Designs by Imogen something on Instagram. So this one also, it doesn't have like a set deadline. She would like to release it in the spring, but like we've all had the pattern since like early December, and there's not a specifically set deadline yet, which is awesome. This I'm using Hobbii Friends Cotton Silk in Eucalyptus and Cream, I think, this yarn. The yarn management is a little bit tough because it's so slippery that it just wants to fall off the ball, which is a little annoying. Sorry, I think I have some mohair in my nose now. That's the one thing with mohair. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to do a mohair scarf wrapped around because I think I would just like, have you ever seen a cat like get their tongue stuck on like a fuzzy blanket? I feel like I would be like that with a mohair scarf. Like, it's just in my nose. Anyway, I absolutely love the way that this is turning out. I've only done like a few row repeats, but it's just the most beautiful cable pattern. And it looks like color work, but it's just slip stitches and cables that makes it, so you're never doing more than one color on a row, which is really nice. And I think it's going to be like just a very nice t-shirt for the spring and summertime. Oh, and then I have center of, my beginning of round marker is a Creation Miss Couture stitch marker that I got from her surprise bundle, and it is a little honeybee, which I just thought was perfect for the honeybee tea. So those are the 3 test knits, works in progress tops. I have a lot of shirts going. Like I got a lot of garments going, which is kind of exciting. It'll be nice to finish them. Now, those are all the knitting things. I did want to show some of the yarn I've been dyeing. So I found a Canadian supplier, which is very exciting. They are called ecru yarn.ca or something like that. So I bought a couple of their bases and I wanted to try them out, and I absolutely love them. So this is a boucle base, which is boucle and nylon, which makes it a little bit more affordable than the boucle and silk that a lot of places have. And I tried to do like kind of a dip dye situation. So you can see that is a little bit lighter. So those are like the 2 ends. So the one end is lighter than the other. So I think that'll be like a really pretty tonal. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna use it for or use it with. The alpaca is shedding just a little bit, but I think that's to be expected. So, and it soaked up the dye really, really well, which is nice. And it's so soft. It's so soft. Love that. I got the mohair base, which I believe is 60% mohair, 40% silk, or something like that. It has a higher silk content than a lot of different silk mohairs that I've seen, and I really, really like that. Like the silk core is just so shiny. So this one I kind of did like a pastel rainbow-y. I had like some leftovers, leftover dye from a different yarn that I was doing. So there wasn't like a whole bunch of pigment left, and it turned into like this pastel, just absolutely gorgeous. It's got like some purples and blues and green. I love the way that the green turned out. So I think that will be really pretty. Again, I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna make with it, but looking forward to trying it out. And then I did a sock yarn. Now this sock yarn, it did turn out a little bit messy in the hank. Like you can kind of see, like, I don't know, you can kind of see like the loops and stuff. I think I needed to add a couple extra like ties around it so that it stays together, but that's good to know. So I will use this one for something. I was thinking of like caking it up and then maybe putting it back in the skein, but this is one of their sock bases, and I really like how the dye came out. So again, so it was the same colors as this. Oh, actually maybe I'll use that together. It's the same colors as this, but I did, so it's a little bit darker on this one. Wow, this hank is just a total mess. I'm gonna have to do something with that. But there's just some of the sections that are so pretty. It's like an ocean. It came out like an ocean, and I really, really like that. So, those look so pretty together. Maybe I'll do something with that. I don't think the yardage is quite the same, but I could use like part of that for socks and then part of it with that for something. Anyway, and then this is a mini skein. It's a 20-gram mini that is basically, I call it grunge rainbow. So what I did is I speckle dyed with all the different colors of the rainbow, and then I did a wash of black over top of it. So it turned out, like, it's so hard to capture on camera, but it is so stinking pretty. The speckles and just the like the rainbowness of it, but it's not like in your face rainbow. Like, I love rainbow colors, but I'm not a huge fan of like the super bright, like it just seems kind of like toddler toy to me sometimes, a rainbow. So the grunge rainbow makes me very happy. I was testing out the acid dyes. I had done a full, yeah, it's right here. I had done a full skein of the grunge rainbow, and I wanted to see, so this is on the Knit Picks Hawthorne base. Wow, man, I forgot how pretty this was too. Not to toot my own horn, but this turned out very pretty. Oh, I like that a lot. And I wanted to see if I could kind of duplicate it in a mini skein, and it turned out pretty good, I gotta say. So I have some of these for sale. I'm trying to experiment with different things and seeing if I can do repeatable colorways and stuff, but like I'm dyeing enough yarn that like there's no way I'll be able to use all of this yarn, and I am not like confident enough in my abilities to sell it at a high price like a lot of the indie dyers do. Not that I'm like, I think that it's absolutely totally worth it, like if you go to an indie dyer that has been doing it and is like, anyway, my skill set is not very high. I'm practicing, I'm experimenting. So they are at a lower cost right now on my Etsy shop if you would like to support me and get some pretty yarn to go along with your pretty project bags. So I'll have everything linked below for that. Oh man, so pretty. It is really hard to like part with it because I want to use them all, but I'm gonna keep the big hank and I'm selling the smaller hanks. And I also have some of the micro, the ones that I did for the mittens. These are worsted weight. So I have some of the micro skeins up too, if you want to check that out. All of the links for everything will be posted below. And I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about. It still doesn't feel like I am definitely not a fast knitter, so, and I like working on many projects at a time. So I feel like this is not going to be a podcast that you come to, hopefully this is not a podcast that you come to expecting like a million finished projects, because that's just not who I am. I like to experiment, I like to work on lots of different things. Like this, I see things, I'm like, I just want to cast this on right away, and then I'll have it as a work in progress for 6 months. That's kind of how I function. A little bit chaotic, but who doesn't love a little chaos? And maybe you don't like chaos in your own life, but you like watching chaos, so I can be that for you. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'm hoping to do this a little bit more regularly. I know that it has been quite a long time, but I don't want to put like a ton of pressure on myself because it's not always easy keeping to a schedule with a almost 1.5-year-old, but all of this stuff brings me a lot of joy and I like sharing it with people. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next episode. Until then, happy crafting.